outstanding.
Whenever you want.
So we're started. We're good, Ellie.
What do you think is the rudest animal?
The rudest?
Like, what do you think, like, knowing what you think an animal's inner monologue is?
The rudest
cat.
animal.
Why?
Because they're always just like, I don't know.
Man.
Cat's very selfish and rude.
I'm trying to. I mean, cats do look like they have an attitude
Do you
problem.
have like a fake fact?
No, I'm just wondering which one you think.
Oh.
Like I would have said this about cats up until now, and I told you
you
the story
have
about the
that
cat.
cat, yeah.
This cat that we rescued under
There's
the
been-
house.
Oh, yeah.
There's
And
been a
he's the
couple outlier
sweetest-
cats, like, but
Right.
you know, like
They
I
do
feel
have
like
an attitude, I feel like.
outdoor cats
Yeah.
are cool.
Right.
Most or that at least started outdoors and then came
Right.
indoors
Right.
are a little bit more. They've been on the streets, you know. They know
Right.
things.
Right. Seriously.
They know
got
things.
experience.
They're
Been
not
on the
like they're not
streets.
entitled.
Yeah.
Like, you know, most cats get like food from a can.
Yep.
You know, my dogs have never had food from a can,
Yeah.
and so cats I feel like are entitled.
So this is
And
totally.
Dre is gonna get
But-
mad because Dre's a cat person.
But you also think ticks are flattering.
I didn't say ticks were flattering. I
What
just
was
said
that
I don't.
about
He thinks
yesterday?
ticks
She
are
got so
flattering.
upset that she got bit by. And ticks are bad. They're not something to mess with. Like
Right.
you don't want to have a tick on you because
Right.
there's that Lone Star tick that you can't eat red meat or whatever.
Oh, you would be so
I would be
upset.
dead. I'd be dead. I'd die. I would die. I couldn't make fun of Kristen anymore. And so,
You'd probably shrink.
but you were freaking out yesterday, so I said you
Because I think-
should be flattered that a tick wants to suck your blood.
I
I
only heard
saying
the end of this
that
conversation
they
yesterday.
burrow their head in there, and then the head gets stuck in there and it's stuck for life.
Yeah, and that's just not a thing.
And then he's like, "You should be flattered."
I'm pretty sure if it gets in there, your body will filter it out.
I don't know, but
It can't stay stuck for life. And then
It's
when
like
you
it's like eating a watermelon seed when you were a kid and you thought there was watermelon
my
going to go in
grandma
your
told me
stomach.
that.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple in there, just
No.
stomach sized.
And then what was the next thing? There was some animal that lays a sack
Oh,
and you
yeah,
pull it
that's-
out.
that
I
one's
don't wanna
disgusting.
Talk about it. The bot fly.
something
no
that
one
lays
Google
larvae.
bot flies. It's horrific.
Puts larva into your body.
Oh, it's
larva
horrific.
just sounds gross.
And
you
then
know?
there's like a sack of larva
and
that you pull out of your skin.
It's huge.
larva sack. It's not good.
Oh, that
No,
it's
not
not a
larva
good
and
way.
sack.
To,
Those words don't go together.
No.
You know what I had a run-in with this week? This will be my rude animal. Oh. So I left my running shoes outside.
I want Dre to like slow down and just capture that face.
It's that bad. So I left my running shoes outside because they were dirty and I didn't want to just bring them right in. So I went to pick them up and they had some mud, so I was going to kick the mud off. So I flip it over and
Kick the dust up.
it
Sorry.
was so it was so strange because it was like shiny dirt. Like I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like the weirdest mud I've ever seen. It's so shiny. And there were like two
It'd
little
be rich because we found white mud. Black sheep.
I've never heard shiny and mud together ever either.
well,
But this is good.
and
I
there
love
were like
this
two
story.
balls of it.
Okay. Balls of rich, shiny mud.
And
Two
different
balls.
size.
Two
They were
balls.
not the same size shiny
Yeah, that's
mud. So
correct.
now I'm like, well, I got to get the shiny mud out. So I'm smacking it against the ground, and I'm smacking it
You're
against
smacking the balls.
smacking the balls against the ground. Burst.
Shiny
One
balls.
burst.
Oh. That
And
is
I'm like-
not good.
Spiders.
No, freaking slugs.
Ugh.
And it just green mush. And at that point, I still didn't even know it was a slug. And then I'm like, there's another slug burrowed in my shoe. Do I burn the shoes? Do I ever wear the shoes again? It was disgusting. And
Yeah.
then I further investigated the rest of the driveway, and there were other slugs. So right now, I'm not really pleased with slugs. It's disgusting.
So slugs is yours. Cats, slugs.
You just put salt on them.
You murdered slugs?
As a child, I did.
My
Yes.
brother did that.
Put salt on them.
Yeah,
Does
he
that
used
do
in
Oh
Fort.
yeah, they just like I'm
Shrivel up.
in Fort Johnny.
The whole
Just
Wizard of Oz thing.
I've been thinking about this whole like turkey hunting.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about snakes and rattlesnakes.
gross.
We saw a snake the other day when me and Matt were out walking.
And see, you told a story one time about turkey hunting and you and Hewitt.
Hewitt, yeah.
Like there's literally a rattler just.
It wasn't a rattler. No, this was just me and Matt I'm posted up on a tree, Matt's posted up on another tree, and all of a sudden I hear Matt go, Rich! And I look over, and he's like, and I'm like, what? And he texts me, he's like, there's a snake. He took it was just a
Texted
black snake.
Oh.
But, black snakes
Oh,
are
it
fun.
wasn't man-eating?
See, I'm just not down. That's my rude animal.
You don't
I'm
want- oh,
just
it's a
freak out.
snake.
I'm like gonna wear.
I don't necessarily, like, snakes and sharks are on the same level with me. Like, I don't like them,
Right.
but I'm not, like, as long as they're a ways away, but I'm not going to, like, freak out and panic. But
Right.
I don't like them, especially a rattlesnake. No way.
Yeah.
Did you hear Heidi say that a shark in Hawaii bit someone on a paddleboard? A paddleboard. You stand on a paddleboard.
Did you hear me say that there are great whites in the Atlantic now?
I don't believe you.
What?
They don't like that water. They've seen one great white in Cocoa Beach in eternity, I thought. And it was in
Thanks a lot, Al Gore.
Sebastian Inlet. That's actually a really cool video on YouTube.
What does Al Gore have to do with it?
Global warming.
Well, global warming. Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot, Al.
14-foot shark spotted off the coast of Florida.
How far off?
And
Captain Tony Peoples.
There's a video of it.
I want to see it.
On Amelia Island, north of Amelia Island.
Okay, so that's not Cocoa Beach, so we're good.
Giant great white shark circling Florida man's boat.
Oh, that's not cool. Oh, so I'll be darned. I was wrong. Well, so there was this guy spearfishing in Sebastian Inlet, which is next to Cocoa Beach, where I'm from. And Sebastian gets really deep. It's on the continental shelf, I guess. So there's a huge drop off. Anyway, he goes down spearfishing. And it's a cool video to look up on YouTube. And he goes down. And all of a sudden, out of the darkness, you see he goes, woo! And obviously wants a fish, don't spearfish where there's great whites.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
Oh, man.
It's just not a good idea.
I'm just uncomfortable with all that, honestly.
You're in their environment,
Yeah.
you just got to accept
if you don't
that.
have food in your hands, it's okay.
I don't know.
Or if you're not chummed around like you were chummed around,
Yeah.
they're not going to bug you.
You don't think, but dude on a paddleboard are surfers.
Yeah, but that's above water. I'm just saying if you're scuba diving with them, it's not an issue.
I don't know.
I read a book about, I don't remember what the title was, but it was about near-death experiences and then what the people learned. Mm-hmm. And one of the stories was a lady riding a bike in California on a hiking trail, and a bobcat, or maybe it was a mountain lion.
Probably a mountain lion.
Yeah, mountain lion.
Bobcats are pretty.
It was a mountain lion. It was bigger.
Yeah.
And only thing she remembers is her head being popped open like a can. And if it's not for the fact that her friend was behind her with a bike, and her friend jumped off a mountain bike and ran and threw it at the mountain lion and got it to go away. And then she just remembers how helpless she was, how powerful it was.
Jeez.
There was no time to think.
They go for the jugular, too. They teach you that. It's when you're running out west on trails.
It got her neck.
Yeah,
it got her in the
that's where
back of
they
the
go
neck
for
and
it.
then just snapped her.
Oh.
And she
paralyzed
lived through
or
it.
anything? Or?
No, she had surgery and kind of overcame it all. But you just think about what those animals
Powerful.
can do.
They're
you know?
so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard Rogan talk about it. The only reason we're on the top of the food chain is because of weapons.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, every other animal is
That's true.
just kill us.
Yeah, we figured out how to
Animals
build
are
community.
So powerful.
Right.
Yeah. Ugh, that's... Anyway.
So we got
I've got
slugs, cats,
yeah.
and
How many times
snakes.
can we
Mountain lions?
Mountain lions.
the heebie-jeebies? So I got to tell you guys what actually, no, we got to do this first. Will you entertain me? Will you try this and be honest?
I don't know if I'll be honest, but I'll entertain.
So
I've never hit anything from you.
So this week, his stuff about imagery and creating your own reality keeps coming up. The last couple weeks,
Your
this
own
stuff keeps,
reality.
So
What do you mean it keeps coming up? How so?
I just the way I scroll and try to learn new things and see things, whatever.
Okay.
I keep randomly ending up with all of these kind of things that keep intertwining.
Okay.
So it's just an interesting topic. I'd like to pick your brains on it a little bit.
Okay.
But first, I want to see if this works on you guys, because I was listening to it and I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I was like, well, I'll be darned. Okay, so I want you guys to imagine that you're holding a lemon.
Okay.
A big, juicy, yellow lemon. You can feel the waxy texture of it. You're holding it. I want you to shove that lemon into your mouth. You can taste the flesh. It smells lemony.
Flesh. What do you have to call it flesh? You mean the skin?
Did you salivate or did you not? Did your mouth pucker?
Okay, so I immediately, and this is not even right because it should have been a line, but I just went to Corona. That's the first thing I thought of. I
said
thought about,
picture the lemon.
I know, and I did. And
You
then
did not.
I did. I totally had that lemon there, and then I had a bottle of Corona in this hand, and then I was combining them, and that's what I did. Honestly, that's what happened.
Can you make yourself? Did you?
What are we talking
A
about?
lemon.
I was on donuts or something. I don't even know what you were talking about.
You were thinking about so you weren't listening and you didn't
absolutely
try.
not.
Okay, I want you to picture a lemon.
I tried. I'm joking.
Did it work?
No.
Well, I did it. I can picture it right now. and make myself salivate. No?
I was trying to figure out how to make the lemon a lime and put it in the Corona. That's what I was thinking about.
I was thinking about cutting it open because I'm not going to shove the lime or lemon into my mouth I'm not going to take a bite out of a lemon.
No.
Why would I do that?
And then you called it flesh, and that weirded me out.
Yeah. It's
What do you
really
call it?
flesh.
It's like skin or
And she
peeling.
also was
or,
like the
peeling, yeah.
Well, first of all, this lady, she's like a world-renowned Marissa Peer. She's incredible. Like
Marissa Peer?
Yeah. Do you know Marissa Peer?
Oh, that's her name.
Yeah.
I was like, what is a Marissa Peer?
She constantly talks about like forming a partnership with your brain, and she's I mean, it's silly but true. Obviously, like the images you put in your brain and the words you tell yourself become your reality. Like, you know, you tell it that's like basic. But she just always starts with the lemon test because you can create that in your mind. And most people are like, oh, imagery, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and her other big thing is like, because she obviously works with people with addictions and things like that, or people that say, oh, I can't quit this, I can't do this. And she says, and this is so simplistic, but I found a lot of value from it, was
rind.
A rind.
A
So
lemon
I was
rind.
supposed to say the waxy rind. Bite into the waxy
Oil
rind.
pockets or are more commonly known as the citrus rind.
Rind. How do you
I could
RIND?
have said rind.
The rind.
Anyway, she always says, make
Try
what...
it again with saying rind instead of skin.
I want
No,
you.
I'm just kidding.
I was committed.
I know you were.
Gosh, it keeps making me
She didn't
salivate.
say skin. She said flesh.
Well, she was like, the way she said it, she also has an English accent. She's like, I want you to suck the juices out.
Oh,
It was
jeez.
so
I don't think
ridiculous.
that's British.
Yeah.
How would you do a British accent?
But not like that. I
So
don't
do
I
it.
don't do it on demand.
Oh my gosh.
Let me do it when I feel like I need to.
Well, what honestly happened to me when you said flesh was you were holding your hand up, show, her hands ripped,
So
flesh. So that's what came to my mind when she was talking. I saw actual flesh there.
well,
It didn't
so the
work for
whole
me.
point was she always says make what's unfamiliar familiar and what's familiar unfamiliar. And like I paralleled that to CrossFit, and it's so true. I never do the stuff like I hate chest to bars, so I don't do them. I shouldn't say that. I like chest to bars. They're just not my very favorite movement.
Right.
But it's just a simple concept. I thought
Chest to
it was
bars?
Chest to
You're
bars.
taking your chest to multiple bars?
You haven't seen me do it? I do it all the
Nope.
time.
Or toe to bars.
Toe to bars.
I also can I tell you about the swimmer?
But you know what? To finish that,
Yeah.
like I think that imagery thing is a good tool, and
For some people.
Well,
yeah,
so that's why
I think that's something that some people can benefit from for sure.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
for sure. But so they make the Olympic swimmers like Michael Phelps and all of them imagine their race stroke for stroke on deck a couple times a week. Like I guess one of these major coaches make them do it. And then one time they'll pull them out and they'll say start a stopwatch for their race, whatever it is. And they imagine it stroke for stroke in the pool. And then he says, tell me stop when you touch the wall. And
That sounds like a nightmare to me.
oh, for sure.
I
But
don't know why, but I can't. I just can't get behind imagery stuff, personally.
But could you
Right.
imagine being within half, like a swimmer's like a millisecond within your split and actually hitting it? Like that's kind of incredible.
It's cool, but I can't do it. It's not how I operate.
Cup of tea, for sure.
No, like it's all of those kinds of ideas,
Hacks.
tools, hacks for you. That's for sure in our conversations. It's not.
Yeah.
That's not what
No.
you like to go get in it and do it and then see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not something you really want to think about. You
No.
actually want that part of your brain shut off, and you want to go compete.
Right.
You know.
And you certainly don't need that. You never have needed that. So why
Right.
would you start doing something that?
A lot of times, you know, in the Q&As and the questions that people ask you, they ask you questions that aren't necessarily even related to how you compete or
Prepare,
what you do or the way it works in your life. And I think we're all different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're
some people
absolutely
works for.
I was with a person today who was asking me in detail. I had a coaching session with somebody who was asking me in detail a little bit about how you do what you do, you know, and I had to slow them down because what they thought, their perception on the outside, is not at all what's
Not even
happening.
close.
And a lot of what's happening it comes from your design.
Right.
It's how you were created. This
Right.
idea to compete. I've never been around anybody that's more competitive, and that comes out in how you do things.
Right.
And truthfully, to even talk about that to some degree with
hard.
you is hard.
Hard.
I don't really
Yep.
want to do that.
Yep.
Either we're going to compete or we're not.
Yep.
We had things come up this week just in everyday mayhem business that, you know, your first filter is this idea of let's go compete, man.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking? Why are we having conversations about competing? Why are we not just doing it?
Yeah, why are we not? So, but I think it's cool to be able to slow down and then be able to try to.
I think it's great. I don't have that.
Right.
That gear, I guess.
Or do you really need it?
Right.
Apparently.
I heard a cool conversation where a guy who was an Olympic wrestler, I wish I knew some of these names, but some of the stuff are just stuff that I kind of heard. But he won an Olympic gold medal, and when he was a kid, he put two pictures of 2 moves on his wall, and those are the 2 moves that he ended up using to win the gold.
That's cool.
So that imagery piece was something that it was powerful in his life. He'd get up and think about that and practice that, and those were later on. And he didn't even really quantify it till later.
Right.
He was like, holy smokes, that's how I won that.
Right.
You know? That's pretty powerful.
Wow. That's speaking of kind of wrestling. Did you know that Disney bought the WWE? Does it
WWE?
WWE? Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, Vince
Really?
McMahon
Yeah.
owns WWE.
No. Well, so first of all, did you know that it's one of the largest sports entities in the United States? I didn't know that.
WWE? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't know
huge.
that.
Huge.
How much do you think Disney bought it for?
I don't think Disney
They
bought it.
did guess.
How much?
Disney bought.
Guess.
How much?
You got to guess.
I'm
Jim,
going to
guess.
say the WWE. I'm going to say my guess would be. I'm going to say. I'm just guessing. $200 million.
$3 billion.
Okay. $5 billion.
Billion with a B.
Billion.
Yeah.
See, I guessed like 190 million was my guess.
Wow.
No, I mean that.
WWE is worth $5 billion.
That right? That's what I said. No offense to anyone that's a lot of money. That's like
Wow.
I don't know. You can fact check
No
me on
joke.
that.
Wow. Oh,
Was I wrong?
Vince McMahon confirms as a hoax.
Oh, was it real? Crap.
Oh no.
Dang, man.
Did you get your stuff off Facebook?
No, I didn't.
No.
That was by word of mouth. I heard someone say that.
$5 billion.
That's what I get.
Like, I'm trying to think, what are I don't know what the numbers are, but the sports franchises that are worth the most are the NFL franchises, and then
It was an April Fool's prank.
Aw, lame. I got owned.
Oh man.
That stinks.
Oh wow.
Man, I need a real fact now. I don't even.
That's
Aw.
awesome.
That's such a bummer.
rejected, stuffed.
Oh my gosh. You know what else I heard this week that actually really opened up something for me, which parallels to something you talk about?
What?
Which helped me understand it on a different level. So you know how you talk about you have to leave emotion out of it. Like, you
Right.
know, feel, filter, think, flow.
Right.
You can't just like feel something, whatever.
Right.
Well, someone was talking this week about emotional filters.
Yeah.
And it just kind of put a different perspective on it for me. And I valued that too. Because a lot of times you're like, you can't feel. And it's like, I can't help. Like, yes, I can think through and know that this feeling is illogical or whatever.
Right.
In a certain situation or be angry about something, whatever it is. But it's hard still to like rein it in. Well, anyway, so this guy was like, yeah, it's like those days where, you'll hold a door for somebody.
Right.
And the person won't say thank you. Like, if you're having a good day or things are going well, you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, who cares? And you're really angry or booed out. You're having a bad day. And you're like, that person thinks they're better than me. That person should trip. I hope they run into the door. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And it's just such a simple idea and way of looking at it, but it's so true. You can also, your perception of a situation.
That's you.
And what?
That's you.
What?
You can always tell when Ellie's having a bad day
No, you
she
can't.
does not take a joke that day. You're like, whoa, okay.
I've never
Shuts
done
down.
that ever.
Shuts
No.
down.
Never done that.
There might be a little bit of truth in that, Ellie.
Well,
Shuts down. Starts like getting teary eyed when you're like, we made that same joke like 2 days ago and she's fine. Today, something happened.
well, that was really eye-opening for me, and now I understand that sometimes when I'm like, I'm thinking this through, I'm very logical. I, in fact, am growling behind the door when I don't need to be growling. So that was really helpful for me.
I held the door for a lady one time, and that I didn't know.
Just one time.
It was at a
Just
hotel.
that one
Just this one time, back in band camp. It's at a hotel, and I opened the door, and she started to walk through, and she looked at me, and she was super rude. Like, so why are you doing that? You think I can't hold the door? Kind of like that.
Oh.
And my response to her was, the fact that I'm holding the door has nothing to do with you. Whether you're capable of holding the
Right.
door or not holding the door. This is
Right.
about who I am as a person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she just immediately stopped and said, you know what? I'm sorry. But sometimes
Yeah.
you're talking about feeling and filtering and that's the kind of man I want to be, and I would have held that for the dude.
Right.
If
for
there had been a
anybody.
dude behind me, I do it all the time.
Right.
Hold the door, going into Kroger's.
Yep. Kroger's. You cut it off before you said
did?
it. You almost said
Did you
it.
see me go like this?
You went Kroger's.
I think there was a
No.
little bit of a.
It was a little.
There was a
it was
little.
like a.
There was a little snake behind there.
Did you see, though? I paused and I caught myself.
You did.
Listen.
Listen.
In Colorado,
Colorado.
the store is King Soopers,
Yeah, I know. You told us this.
and it's
Oh, so that's where that comes
it's
from.
Kroger here, but they're the same store. The names are just
Yeah.
different. So I'm always sticking the
So
S on
why
there.
does the elderly population change it to plural?
I don't know, but how
Why
do we
does it
get
become
onto that?
Walmarts?
I don't know.
What were we talking about that was valuable? and then we
Opening
got
doors and stuff. That was just all the way I was raised.
Right.
Like, my mom was like, "You open a door always."
Yeah.
And so I open the door for my wife, and we get in the car every time, and my
Right.
wife
Aw.
hates it.
Why?
I do not know.
That's so nice.
She's like, "Just get in the car, start the car." Like, what are you doing? This is taking too long. I'm
Right.
like, now I just kind of do it to spite her.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but that- I
you
think-
had a story though.
I don't-
Opening a door for a lady.
You'd even do it for a dude, but then something about Kroger.
You said
Oh,
you were
No,
that's
I
ju-
stopped the S. I stopped the S on the end, and
Yeah.
I was proud of myself for catching it.
Yeah, but wasn't the Kroger part of your story? Yeah. Clam claps. Have you ever done those?
Absolutely
In
not.
school? Jim clam.
No, never done that. Never
Quit
will.
staring at my hand.
I wasn't actually looking at your hand. I was looking at you do this.
Oh, sorry.
You ever seen Dinner for Schmucks?
No, what's that?
You never seen Dinner for Schmucks? You got to see it.
I
With
think
Steve
I have
Carell
seen
and Paul
that.
Rudd. It's so good. It's like it's one of those underrated funny movies, and I don't know. It made me think of the guy. Paul Rudd's apologizing to Steve Carell, and he's like, "You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin."
Oh my gosh, my brother
But that movie
always
'cause
did that to me.
the premise of the movie is Paul Rudd works for this company, and his boss is kind of a jerk, and they have this dinner where they bring in schmucks or idiots to the dinner, and so like you have to bring in, and so Paul Rudd befriends Steve Carell, who's supposed to be the idiot for the party, and he's like he's odd, and he does taxidermy on mice and creates
wow.
these little like play sets and
Right.
like does this like
Taxidermy on mice.
like history things, and like one of them he's talking about Benjamin Franklin. He's like, they told Benjamin Franklin you can't fly a kite in an electrical storm. He goes, well, you can with an electrical kite. And like there's what did they say? He said something about they told Van Gogh you can't paint with one ear, and he said I can't hear you. I don't know. The movie's hilarious. You gotta watch it.
Dinner with Schmucks.
yeah,
Dinner for Schmucks. You gotta watch it.
I'll have to check that out.
It's a little older, but it's good.
So I have no idea where that was going.
I don't either. I
Other
don't know
than
why I just took Dinner for Schmucks either.
I don't know.
Opening the door for somebody. That's what we were kind of talking
And then
about.
you
Oh,
went clam
about
claps.
oh yeah, and it was just about the emotional side of that. About how some days it's a little projected than others.
You said leaving the emotion out of it. That's not all the way accurate, based on what I'm talking about. I think emotion is a great fire starter in life. It gets us started, but it's not sustainable fuel, especially in sports.
Right. The thing how
So I don't want to leave it out of it. Emotion makes life worth living.
But-
It gives meaning to everything.
my struggle with emotion is that it's like I said to you the other day, like, you're having a hard week or something comes up and I say to you, I understand I need to pull back here, that I need to not cry if I'm discussing this or talk about this. And I recognize, and I'm very logical, and I'm fine with the outcomes and everything associated with it. But for whatever reason, it'll hit me like a tidal wave every now and then. And I'm like, I don't want to be upset or crying or projecting this or this. And and you're like, you can control it. And I truly try,
Right.
but like, I don't understand what that overwhelming wave is. Again, like I'm totally logical and I just can't help what's physically happening. I can, I guess, because
Yeah.
you keep saying I can.
You can.
But
Well, you can because you don't go running around having mental breakdowns or emotional breakdowns in the store and other places.
I don't have a mental breakdown.
Just kidding.
Oh, if I'm hungry, I might have a mental breakdown. But other than that.
You know what? The sports side of it's super cool as an analogy because it's that space where if we want to compete and we want to be, we want to work optimally, we have to make sure that our heart rate and pulse and blood pressure and all that are down. And so if we're over emotional, that works against us. And life is exactly the same way. I have, like with my wife, I know that I can allow my if 0 is where emotion starts, and we want to talk about energy on the other side. Emotion, energy. Emotions are connected to feelings, obviously. Energy is connected to values and what we believe. So at what point in our relationship or in sports or what we're trying to do we need to capture our emotion, use it as a fire starter or as the fuel, but then we need to convert to competing or living based on what we believe, So I see it as kind of like a meter, I need to be about a 4 with my wife all the time. That's about all the emotion I need to bring, especially when things are stressful, because too much emotion puts me in the wrong space. And that's not, she doesn't receive that very well. And matter of fact, it's not even her fault. It's just that she doesn't need that from me. With you, I can be at an 8 and I can be a little goofy, a little crazy, a little emotional, and that's okay.
That's funny because when I'm a 10 at the pool, he's like, you got to take it from here to here.
Right.
This is just too much.
But I think
it's also at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I think it's important, right? How many times we made choices and decisions solely based on emotion and we regretted it. Every one of us has that story. So, I really like to go to the relationships that are the most important and say, all right, how much emotion can I bring to this before I need to convert what I'm getting ready to do to energy, meaning I need to make choices and decisions based on values.
What if you're not making the decision based on the emotion? You just have the physiological effects. Like you're logical, but obviously like you put your
it's still affecting your decision.
Yeah.
Not really. Not if you just because something makes me emotional and gets me to hot tears doesn't mean that I'm going to make a decision based on it. I'm smart enough not to act on that.
Others kind of I can't talk to you when you start I can't handle tears. I
hide from you when I cry.
But that's what he's saying is the emotional part, he can only do a 4 to his wife. When you're at an 8 on your emotion scale, I'm out.
No,
and a lot of people are out, honestly.
Sure.
Like other girls are probably fine with it. But like guys, especially with a female that's not your wife, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what to do here. I'm going to be awkward.
But I'm smart enough not to if I'm in that situation, I try not to be near you because I know it makes you uncomfortable.
Right.
But I'm trying to bring this to light that
Are you going to cry? I'm leaving.
Podcast is over.
Well,
so anytime we're inconsistent in our actions, it breeds in the people around us mistrust. Like if you're not going to be consistent with me, then I'm not sure whether I can trust you. So if we want to talk about a team environment, and we're talking about culture of a team, we want to make sure that we're consistent in how we operate and we act so that the person who is our teammate can trust us. They know what to expect.
We're not saying you're not.
No, this is not to get down on you because you're a great teammate.
13 days out of 14, but that one day when you cry is just that you're.
I don't cry every 2 weeks. No, I do not.
About every 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, that is completely inaccurate.
That's pretty accurate.
Jim, 2 weeks? What do I have to cry about every 2 weeks?
I don't know. Maybe every 3. I give you every 3.
I do not
every 3
cry
weeks?
every 3 weeks.
I don't really know the details about this. I can really honestly opt out here. I really
when
don't know.
was the last time I cried?
Last week.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Crying to you doesn't count.
No,
you can take
I'm
it.
talking
You
about me.
cried
I'm talking
multiple times in the last. But we've had a lot going on.
Yeah.
When have I cried out of
When we were
something
arguing
stupid?
about your row workout, your Ellie versus the world
cry.
workout. Yeah, you did.
You're right. That was totally uncalled for. That was. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway.
But I think that what's important for people to know is that, but we are talking about a team environment here. We're absolutely talking about, and you guys are closer than most teammates because you're almost like family.
Right.
So
we spend a lot of time together.
The Mayhem team is really like family, and you're spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day every day for years with people, and so that relationship does grow to the place where you really know what you're getting.
Yeah, and you can talk to people.
And people are really invested really personally in your life.
Right.
Which is a big deal. You guys as spouses all know each other. There's all kinds of interconnections, and that's important to know as a foundation. We're not just talking about
just anybody that your friend
some team you show up to have practice with.
Right.
But for sure in life, and then for sure in a competition aspect. And man, you want to be able to count on that person, and you want to
Yeah.
know they're in control.
You want to know what's
Well,
going to happen if.
And so emotionally, that person needs to be as consistent as possible. And for sure, in what you guys do, man, how you feel that day is really not relevant to what you're going to do as far as what you're training and how much you're willing to deal with in the workout.
Check your emotions at the door.
Well, and what I truly appreciated most from the conversation we were having about that one day was you looked at me and you said, use a podcast analogy, but I'm going to use a competition analogy.
Right.
If you were going into, podcast or a competition right now, you could flip a switch and you wouldn't do this. I was like, you're right, absolutely. So then I felt challenged, and I'm like, I'm going to figure this out.
Right.
I am going to figure out how to, I'm going to say not that many that often.
Every
but,
4 weeks.
You know what it comes down to? Want to.
Yeah.
You control your emotions because you want to or you don't. And a lot of times people just want to emote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, it feels good.
Feels good.
And there are places in my life where I don't want to.
Yeah.
And there are relationships where I just want to be angry or I don't want to forgive or I want to let it go, And so, man, I love the word capturing emotions or arresting your emotions or your thoughts. I think we physically have the ability to, because you're not going to the bank, you're not going to the store, you're not out there in the middle of the gym with a ton of people just falling the heck apart, because that would make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times these things that when we allow our emotions to go like that, we do it in private. And we do it around people that are the closest to us. That we're comfortable with. And then we end up hurting them. And then we end up trying to say we're sorry. And then, we always heard the saying, we hurt the ones we're closest to. I mean, people do all kinds of things. They control themselves and they are this one person at work, and then they go home and then they're different person. CrossFit, because of the adversity that you face, really exposes you. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the guy in the gym the other day. I've been,
who since apologized,
right? Who DM'd us, but that was, when people get under stress, physical stress, and they get tired, it starts to expose really who they are. Mm-hmm. So this idea of how do we approach the workout, with what level of emotion? You guys approach the workout with, you're kind of at a zero.
Right.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Everything you do, you're really kind of blank, and it's almost robotic. And really what you're doing, and the music's not loud here. Mm-mm. We're not trying to do anything to get jacked up and get fired up. None of that's happening. It's really about disciplining yourself, running to that adversity, and then competing from energy based on your teammates and your values, your faith, for family, for all those kinds of things. And that's a whole lot different than in a lot of places.
Right.
Some people can't even, if you were to go to some gyms and you were to say, we're going to work out, and how many times have you heard it? Even here during a class. Hey, change that music. I can't work out to that music.
Yeah.
It happened today.
Yeah.
It happened today while we were running. I don't know if you noticed that. There was a slow song on, and somebody, I won't name who, went over and changed it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know.
That's really telling.
Yeah.
Can you really kind of suffer in silence? Can you just, or is your environment and the way you set that up really key in how successful you can be? Mm-hmm. So in your greatest moment of opportunity, your darkest hour, will you be enough? What about the time you can't control it?
Right.
What about what something's thrown at you, you got no idea, you couldn't prepare for it? Do you need music?
Right.
Do you need to make sure that I say the right things to you and encourage you, buddy, so you can get fired up and be in the right space and all that?
Nope.
Or do you know who you are and you know what you believe and you're ready to go to work based on the definition of who you are, So for me, for sure, I know, gosh, you know what? I need to, for CrossFit, for me, I need to be at a 3. I can't bring any more emotion to that, or I can't think clearly.
Right.
I lose fine motor skills. I'm not good enough at some of this stuff just to let it go, and just to fully flow in that, So I think, and I don't want to make it sound like emotion is not important, because literally
it is.
It's really important. Life wouldn't be anything
without emotion.
But the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, get
started
with it.
Control that emotion.
Yeah.
Use it when you need it, and when you don't need it.
Yeah, capture it.
Yeah.
Capture it. Control it.
Well, it's kind of like, too, we were talking about even I'm just thinking of music and quiet and all that, how we were talking about meditation briefly yesterday. And it's think about triathletes. Ironman and half Ironman triathletes are spending 6 to 12 hours alone in silence.
Wow.
And a lot of your training, because you can get on the bike every day or go for a run with music and podcasts and everything. But think about it, when you're competing, you're going to have 6 to 12 hours by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up spending a lot of time in silence. And that's how that was making me think like my more meditative, contemplative state used to be on long training sessions. And you were saying yesterday, like when you're shooting a bow, that's where that is for you.
Yeah.
You
walking out in the woods hunting.
Yeah. So same idea.
No
Getting
question.
used to quiet. There's something to be said about having noise all the time.
Here's a challenge for people. Try to go a whole week. And this is something for some people and nothing for others, but for a lot of people, try to go a whole week and just be in silence in your car. Don't turn the radio on. Don't turn the music on. Just be quiet.
Am I exempt from this because I have 14 hours in the car a week?
But can you imagine? Like some people
She'd be
can't.
talking to herself by the time she got here. Hey, Ellie. How are you today, Ellie? I'm good.
No, I
She'd be
wouldn't.
going cuckoo.
I'm not crazy.
Some people just can't be quiet. You just got to have input all the time. You can't just stand still and be quiet. And for sure, if we're going to talk about adversity, we're going to talk about putting ourselves in a difficult situation, then for sure we can't do that in silence.
Right.
And that's doesn't make you good or bad. It's just telling.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's just telling.
That's why here was a question I heard that I thought was really cool, even though I already know the answer from you guys, I think. It was if you could take your, I don't remember the exact words, like hardest or most challenging moment in your life, and instead it turned to what at the time you thought was the perfect outcome, to that outcome, or have it happen and take all the lessons you learned from it, would you change it? Again, I know probably what you guys are going to say, but I thought that was an interesting question.
That's a really interesting question. I
That's an
like that
interesting
question.
So what would you guys do?
I think it depends on defining your hardest moment, because both of mine were like, or two of mine, not both, two of mine were when people passed away that were close to me. Of course, I'd rather have them back. But if you talk about like
that's
not
interesting.
connected,
I didn't really think about it
not
like that.
connected to something, yes. I mean, I'd leave it the way it is. I mean, but
Yeah.
What kind of lessons did you learn in losing somebody?
I don't know if there's really any lesson you learn.
That's the thing. Like that's hard. But there might have been growth. I mean,
you learn to not deal with it, but I don't know.
Did that ever?
I think it just changes perspective, really.
Yeah. I mean, I realized I was not invincible, especially when my cousin died. We were the same age.
Yeah.
You realize, all right, maybe stuff I'm doing
Yeah.
is not,
Sometimes I think some of those we respond and we act based on what we know in our life experiences, and then we have an experience that we've never had before, and we make adjustments in how we respond to life. And I think perspective is a really good word for me when it comes to some of that. I've not experienced, and we've even talked about this, I've not experienced someone that I really, really love dying yet. Haven't had anybody there. Everybody's old and kind of healthy, but I'm not stupid enough to know that
it's gonna happen.
That's gonna happen, and it's gonna affect me in a way that I really can't quantify right now. I don't really know what that means. So sometimes those things just change our perspective and make things more or less important.
Right.
But how you grow from that too, though, is massive when you lose someone. You can, because it also gives you the ability to communicate with someone going through loss, and also based on that person's life and the experiences you shared with that person during their life, it can make you appreciate or understand valuable lessons that occurred throughout your relationship, I think.
Yeah.
In that scenario,
No, of course.
which you might not have appreciated or have been as applicable before.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound vague, but I think that can actually, make you put your trust and care in a lot of different places, which I think would be a pivot or
Makes you slow down. Makes you pay attention to what's really important.
Yeah.
And think of the impact that someone that passes away, because you don't necessarily, I think it's harder to appreciate the impact someone's having in your life. Not that you do appreciate the impact, but when they're gone, I feel like the magnitude of it is so massive, and you can really, it highlights the incredible attributes or the challenges that you guys learned from or whatever you did to be more in your own life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard. It's really.
I think it makes you, you understand mortality. You understand.
Yeah. just the importance of staying close or connected to somebody too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for taking this.
That was heavy.
Thanks for taking this down.
So can we go to the book of questions? Because you guys haven't.
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes.
What is this? Somebody, I can't read this. It's blurry. It's in the
Sennheiser.
the name of this, because I've had 4 people ask me what these headsets are.
HMD 26-2. Sennheiser.
There you go.
Made in Germany.
Or Sennheiser.
Sennheiser.
Hopefully the people that direct message me heard that. Yes, the book of questions.
Oh, yay! Question number 1. Remember, it was toothpaste last time. This is silly. It could start silly. Remember, what's something you've won, and how did you win it? It starts basic. Remember.
Oh, something.
And you can't say CrossFit. Everyone knows that.
Something you've won, and how did you win it? Gosh, so general.
Yeah.
Right, you could take it anywhere.
I won a koozie. I used to be a telemarketer for MCI, long distance.
Yes.
And I sold more long distance connections one evening and won a koozie.
That a boy.
Yeah. Back in the college days, that was my night job.
Actually, one of my buddies texted me today, Zach Hennigan. He's coaching or teaching middle school PE, and he was teaching the kids flag football today.
Right.
And so he was talking about, we used to run this offense called the six-pack, and he's like, these kids don't know how to defend it and blah, blah, blah. And so we actually, in college, won the state championship in flag football and the regional championship, went to national championship.
Wow.
Yep.
What was
That's
your
kinda
team
cool.
name?
Didn't
you have something ridiculous?
Yeah, because we won it
Was
a couple times. Both of those was the one time was the Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street, and then another time was what were we? It was like a gold wolf. It was always gold something because it was Tennessee Tech. It was gold Snuffleupagus one time, gold woof because it was like a buzz your girlfriend woof thing, and
WOOF.
Yep, and it was a wolf. And then crap, we had some pretty good names. There was a couple. We were Playground Legends a couple times. The Holy Fupas a couple times.
Holy Fupas. How much fun was flag football?
So much fun.
I remember those
It
days.
was so much fun. We would just we would look absolutely ridiculous, like all wearing pink, short shorts, tights, and we'd show up and a bunch of white guys, so people were like, "These guys suck," and then we would just drum people.
Yeah.
We dropped one time. There was a couple times we dropped 70 and 80 points, and they didn't score anything because this offense we ran was pretty. It was we called it it was called the six-pack, and so you technically have 3 quarterbacks, and so it was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Because it's not traditional football, and so people you get a bunch of ex-football players, and they're like, these guys can't hang, and then you just I
have some really good flag football memories.
Yeah, me too.
Being 15 and 16, and then getting to play on the in the adult men's league, and then they're all old men, and you just run past them.
By them.
And we had a really good quarterback. Shout out to Tom Ewing. I had a cannon for an arm. Just throw it up there.
Yep. Just go get it. Yep.
Oh, what a great question.
I know.
Great memories.
What about yours, Al?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of something other than sports.
Doesn't have to be other than sports. How many state championships did you win? Cross country?
3.
See? There you go.
Yeah.
How did you win them? Running a lot.
I ran really fast. I gotta think something else. I was nominated for the Wendy's High School Heisman. That was something that
Wendy's High School Heisman
was awarded, which was really cool.
Wow.
Then that was because you have to run fast and do homework, which I liked that.
There you go. I like it.
I got to go to Boy State, which is not really a win thing, but you got nominated from your school, and it was kind of a cool, when you're a junior, upcoming seniors, they take 3 or 4 guys from each school. They take you to tech, and you do this it's all government stuff, and they put you into cities, and you vote on stuff.
Cool.
I actually learned
That's
a ton,
awesome.
ton about government.
You should have been a lawyer if you weren't a fireman. You're so good at history and all that stuff, and you're great at fighting.
Thanks.
Sorry, negotiating.
My very first memory of winning something that was super powerful and valuable, and it's such a happy thought, is I remember being a Cub Scout. So I must have been, I don't know, what is that, 7, 8, 9, or 10,
something like that.
And there was a big weekend jamboree thing, whatever they call it. Pinewood Derby.
Okay.
My dad and I built a Pinewood Derby car.
The big one or the little one?
Little one.
Little one, okay.
Little tiny, like,
yeah.
And I remember how hard we worked on that thing. It won the race, so I won the Pinewood Derby race, and my dad really kind of built it, And then they had a drawing at the end of the day for a Cub Scout watch, and it had a wolf on it. And it was like, pack 161 or whatever.
That's really cool.
And I won that freaking drawing.
Nice.
And I remember going home,
Double
winning that
down.
race.
Good to go.
And it was a drawing, right?
Yeah.
And I remember going home like...
So you won the wolf watch?
I won the wolf watch.
You still have it?
I do. I still have that watch.
Oh my gosh, you have to bring the wolf watch
I have the wolf
in.
watch.
I'm pretty excited about that.
And I can remember like at maybe 9 or 10 or whatever, that was an epic day.
That's really cool.
I mean, you're just
That's
like...
a solid story.
Everything went right.
I got the wolf watch. Oh my gosh, that's cool. Okay, next question. What drives you crazy?
You?
I just knew it. Except me, I don't count.
My biggest pet peeve is when you go to the bathroom and somebody leaves the toilet paper stacked on top of the toilet thing. Like they won't put it on the thing. That's probably one of my only pet peeves. It's the only thing that I can think of that drives me crazy.
How lazy is that?
I hate that.
So that's a good one.
My biggest pet peeve is when I finish with some sort of meeting with somebody, business meeting or something like that, and they want to give me a book to read. Like immediately. And it happens to me frequently. So here's a book you need to read.
Nope.
Not reading your damn book.
Jeez.
And it's not that there's value in books. You know how much I love books. I get books all the time. But what does that say? What do you give me a book for? Don't give me a book. Let's just shake hands and move on.
Read this book.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that to you next time we meet. I got a book for you.
Oh, man.
That's what you should always end.
That could be the end of it. Rich starts giving me books every time we talk.
Every time.
He goes to Amazon.
Unhappy.
He orders 50 books. He starts handing me books.
Oh, I can't stand when people mistreat people in restaurants.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
like
That's a
they
good one.
cannot control 99% of the time, and I can't. There's something to be said about people that like.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Or unkind.
Yeah, you're a bad person if you mistreat somebody that's waiting on your table.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's
Unless they're, obviously being rude or whatever.
right.
But if you're just like my food, blah blah, and you're just like, okay, relax.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. This guy. What's your all-time favorite meal, and how often do you enjoy it? Right? Like,
Chocolate gravy.
Oh, you have talked about that before.
So it's biscuits and then a chocolate concoction. It's cocoa and sugar.
Yeah,
it's not
really
good
gravy.
for you.
I don't really know
Yeah,
why
I
they call
think-
it gravy, but
And you
it's
dump
del-
it
it's
over it.
delicious.
And there was a place here in town. Oh my gosh, as I bashed my headset into my ear, that sold it. And they,
on now, right?
yeah. What was that place called?
The Stop and Go.
Stop and Go.
Stop and Go.
The stop.
My
and
mom
go.
used to make it because it's like an Arkansas Southern
You said
kind
you were
of
going to
thing.
make it for us.
I will.
We're still waiting.
Okay.
I don't really have a favorite meal. I like food.
You do? You
Yeah.
like food?
Steak, sweet potato,
Mm,
sweet potato fries.
what's your
I don't
favorite
know.
dessert?
Favorite dessert? Apple pie.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
I never knew that.
Apple pie.
Okay.
My grandma used to make a really good lemon pound cake too. I
Oh,
used to
wow.
love that.
That's kind of interesting.
So
I used
good.
to like lemon for some reason. It was like my go-to birthday cake. was
And you
lemon.
couldn't pass the lemon test.
Especially, lemon's only good if you take the skin off it.
Yeah. I can't get past the skin.
Or bite into the rind. It's fine.
Okay.
Whatever. Juicy flesh.
What
Fine.
about you? Favorite meal? Brussels sprouts and kale salad and some
I
chicken
do
breast.
love bacon Brussels
Organic
sprouts.
carrots.
Balsamic glaze is fabulous.
Did you say glazes?
Glazes. Right now, see, my guilty pleasure is tempura vegetables.
That's your guilty pleasure?
I love flash fried tempura vegetables.
I don't think that's a guilty.
No, you don't need to be guilty for that.
But no, because then you make the nice little, it's like what you dip it in is.
Yum yum sauce?
Yes!
So
Homemade
good.
yum yum sauce is the best.
Part of the definition of the word guilt implies that you have to have done something wrong.
Oh, I
Eating
want tempura
vegetables is not a...
They're
I can't-
fried.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you
give
dip
me
them in
What do you fry them in?
coconut oil. But they have a coating. It's like a flour cornstarch coating. And yum yum sauce, you know what's in yum yum sauce?
Mayonnaise and
It's
deliciousness.
mayonnaise, sweet chili sauce, and sriracha.
Yeah, just
it's
guilt.
so
You can't
good.
use the word guilt.
Or tempura shrimp.
Feel
you know.
bad about it, but don't be guilty.
So, Lindy and Refa give me so much crap for liking tempura because one time after regionals, someone came up and they were like, it was like a quick 5-second interview, and they're like, "What's your favorite food?" And they're all like, "It was like pizza, sweet potatoes," and I go,
Tacos for Refa.
"Tacos, oh nice." I go, "I like tempura."
Oh,
It
wow.
was like
Yeah, it just doesn't count.
everyone was like, "You want what?" Anyway, sorry. I like tempura.
Spoiled.
I've been making myself. It takes forever.
Silver spoon.
Oh, here's a
Yeah.
good one.
Vacationing in the Alps.
Caviar is my guilty pleasure.
Oh, gross. Okay, if you could eliminate one weakness or limitation in your life, what would it be? Oh, I know this. Let me tell you.
Eliminate one weakness.
Impatience?
What? You're like the most patient person ever. People pull you all sorts of places all the time, and you put like a very patient face on.
It kills me inside.
That was so Batman. That was very
was totally
Batman.
Batman.
Nice job.
It kills me inside.
I just want to kill him.
Well done. You know what mine is?
What?
What do you think it should be?
I don't know. I'm not going to say. This is for you to answer.
You never tell a woman. Yeah. What?
Certain aspects of organization, like I keep like kitchen like so clean because I'm in there constantly and I can't start cooking again if there's like chaos there. And like the areas that like I reside in, I keep neat, but the rest of it is chaos. Like closet, chaos. You know, certain areas will just turn like I keep the front part of my car super clean. I wipe it down. I vacuum it once a week. The trunk is a disaster. Disaster. Like everything gets like, and I do that where like I will like organize and be perfect in like these one areas and then just chuck whatever I can't, you know, clean or have time for in another area. Why can't I just put it in 5 different cubes and fix it?
I don't know.
No, I always have to have like 2 chaos bowls. Drives me nuts. Don't look in my trunk or in my closet.
I think you need help.
With what?
I don't know. You need to seek
Personal?
professional help with that.
No, I don't.
I think that's past.
Oh, maybe I'm open to it. Whatever.
No, I'm just kidding.
What's your what weakness would you eliminate, Jim?
I seriously would. I have zero control when it comes to like sweets.
Like me, that's why we have Easter candy at the house, and literally a huge bag. And I put it in the trash the other day, and Hillary was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "We don't need this." And we have a bowl here, and then Lakeland's like, because what we did is she had like 3 or 4 Easter egg hunts, and literally I just
3
take
or
the candy.
4?
Yeah. So I just took the candy out, recycled it, because we always had to take eggs where we were going.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Lakeland doesn't care. She's actually she'll eat it, or she'll like if it's there she'll eat it, but if it's not there she doesn't even ask for candy. So it's
Right.
like we need to just get it out of sight.
That's a big deal. Like I won't go to the store and get it.
Right. But if it's there,
But if it's at the
It's
house,
gone.
I'll eat it all.
yeah, me too.
And
Yeah, don't put it in
Because
front
if
of
it's
yourself.
gone, you can't eat anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's a problem.
I'm
I would
same way.
eliminate that.
I'm
Okay.
the same way. But it's helped not having it around.
Yeah,
for sure.
What's the secret to a long life?
Okay.
Okay.
Secret to a long life.
I don't know yet.
Steak every day.
Steak.
Stem cells.
Stem cells.
Stem
I don't know.
cells.
I don't know. There was some interview I saw on TV the other day, and they asked some like lady who was like 107 years old, "What's the secret to a long life?" And she said, "Stay away from men." That's what she said.
I don't think we can answer that because none of
Yeah.
us are that old.
Yeah.
But okay, that brings up a good point though. When they do ask, there's like they always have interviews with the older people, and they always say, constantly moving, like not like it doesn't, but they're always moving.
Like a shark.
The other 2 that they said like this is what kept them alive their whole life was gratitude daily, which now is becoming like a thing, but truly being grateful for whatever's happening, you know, finding gratitude in whatever's going on, good or, you know, whatever, and forgiveness. They were saying that
I agree with all that.
you have to have the ability to forgive those around you that you're closest with frequently, because then you can find the gratitude and all that. And it's a cool little circle if you think about it. Well,
Yeah.
keep moving.
I think I would add to that, and we've living with a strong sense of purpose.
Oh, for sure.
I know that's something in all 3
Yeah.
of our lives that we experience like on a
Absolutely.
daily basis, and that you get up hard charging. You get up ready to go, and
I'd say that's a huge one.
Yeah, if you don't have purpose, I mean, that's what you notice. Like anybody who retires, they always say when people retire, they pass away shortly after. It's because they don't have purpose.
No
so
question.
Talk about retirement. It's so funny. My dad is like, he's going to turn 68 this weekend. So I'm going to go home and see him. Yay.
Right on.
And he, for the last couple of years, he's like, Ellie, I have worked. He gets up, 3:34 and works his tail off. Always has. And has been recently talking about, I'm going to slow down and probably retire. And I looked at him. I was like, uh-huh. Last week I called him. He's like, I'm never going to retire. Screw it. I'm not retiring. I'm just going to keep up my suit on. Just keep going to work. I was like, okay. And if you like, all the most super, super successful people don't ever talk about retiring because they enjoy what they do.
Sure.
I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case for him, but if you just enjoy working, then like you said, what are you going to do if you're just sitting around? Like, I would lose my mind.
You ever seen daytime TV?
Oh, jeez.
The worst.
Oh, jeez.
I hate Dr. Phil.
Yeah. I hate all of that.
When I walk in and it's on because Hillary likes it, get this crap off.
It's like poison.
It's awful.
It's like a poison that seeps into your mind. It slows you down. It clouds your thinking.
Yeah, when I had surgery, like the 2 days that I laid on the floor and watched TV, I was like, this is terrible. I'd literally, sometimes I'll turn on the TV, and I'd rather watch cartoons with my kids.
Yeah, there's no question.
Oh, for sure.
Even if I've seen the same episode 50 times, I'd rather watch, or the same movie. Like, I don't know.
We start talking about that whole TV thing now, and I can't find something to watch.
Yeah.
I've gone through
it's the worst.
Amazon Prime, Netflix.
Everything.
I just can't find things.
The only thing we watch movies when we can. I mean, we have 3 kids now, so let's be honest. We don't really watch or do anything.
I called him the other day, and I wanted him to watch Darkest Hour.
Oh, I still want to watch that.
I'm halfway through it.
And I asked him the next day, hey, man, like, did you get through that movie? He's like, no, we ended up watching Ferdinand Bull.
We've watched Jumanji 3 times.
Oh, Jumanji's good, though. We watched it this weekend.
Jumanji is pretty
good.
It's fun. What was I going to say? No, crap.
Sorry.
Kids movies.
Kids movies.
You try to watch a movie, but you don't get too often.
Yeah.
Were you going to tell us about a movie?
I thought so.
Sorry.
I don't remember. No, it's okay.
Just at the Ferdinand
brain.
Bull. I was like...
No, I was talking about 3 kids. So funny story. Jared Davis, who works for Reebok. So the other day, I get a snorkel to the house. And I open this and I'm like, I didn't order a snorkel.
Like underwater snorkel?
Just the snorkel.
Just
the
not
snorkel.
Like the goggles or anything.
Just the snorkel. And I'm like, what the? And so Jared texted me today. He's like, hey, sent the team the Reebok stuff, blah, blah, blah. Did you get my gift? And I was like, because him and his wife sent a card and they put violet seeds in there. So like flower seeds.
Aw.
For Violet.
Yeah.
And so he goes, you get my gift? And I was like, the seeds? Yeah, I got them. He goes, no, the snorkel. And I was like, that's who that was from. He's like, yeah, the other day when we were talking, you said you're just trying to keep your head above water.
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
so funny.
That's
Very
good. So
Jared's so funny.
JD's
He's such a
awesome.
good dude.
JD's awesome. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he sent the snorkel. I was like,
okay.
clever. I get it.
That's a good little
You need to
reminder.
go put that out in the barn.
It was
Somewhere
good.
and hang it up.
Yeah, hang it
That's
up.
awesome. Okay, 2 more questions.
2 more.
I won't keep you pestering you forever. Okay, what phobias have you struggled with?
Being buried alive. That's all I got.
Yeah, you talk about that all the
Can't
time. Yeah.
That would be terrible.
And not like buried alive, like in dirt. Like that probably wouldn't. I mean, yeah, it would suck, but not nearly as bad as waking up in a casket and just staring at like
You're gonna give me nightmares.
the material, and just like I would die of boredom. I feel like. So that you guys talking about wanting to go to float tanks.
Yeah, and you're just like absolutely not having it.
That's just for me. I feel like that's the feeling that I would have. Like I would wake up, and that's how I would die.
But what I don't understand is,
Rich
as a
kid.
fireman, how did you deal with confined space kinds of things?
Didn't bother me at all.
It's like,
Didn't bother me at all.
It doesn't sound like claustrophobic. He's not claustrophobic. It's that he doesn't want to be stuck in a box.
Right.
And he can't.
No, I mean, like, yeah, we would do confined spaces training, and most of the time, like, as long as it wasn't extremely hot in somewhere, if I would take one glove off and just could kind of feel a little bit of air, I was fine. Like, I'd crawl
Right.
through a 16-inch tube or whatever with your pack.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Right.
As long as both my arms aren't to my side, too. Like,
Right.
I have to have one arm up.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Doesn't bother me.
I am absolutely freaked out by the thought of being out in the middle of the ocean and like
That would suck.
and like being out in the water and just being out there in the vastness of all of that and what it is.
That's
and
a really good one.
that freaks me out. Like I've even not wanted to go on a cruise ship, I know it's all silly, but I'm just
That's
like,
not
wow,
silly. If
like,
you probably die from falling off the cruise ship, but being lost at sea, those movies, severe anxiety.
I've never been able to get through the movie Titanic. You know, the water's pouring in, and then just like, what the heck?
I'll never let go, Jack.
Yeah. People are playing violins on the deck. Like going down.
Oh. I told you about my dad with the peanut butter in the trash bags, right?
I don't think you did.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
I did.
No. Tell the world.
Oh, geez. He's not crazy, I swear. Maybe this was his phobia. So here we go. We used to go to the Bahamas once a year. It was our family trip to a little island called Hopetown. JD has a place down there, and it's awesome. And he would pack our scuba bags, and he would always put a jar of peanut butter in there and some black trash bags. And I'm always like, Dad, what's the deal with the peanut butter in the trash bags? And one year he was finally like, well, honey, if the plane goes down, we can survive off peanut butter for a really long time. And he's like,
catch rainwater in the trash bag?
No, it's so illogical. He thinks that if you're floating in the ocean, the sharks are not going to eat your legs off and eat you if you wrap them in a trash bag.
Oh.
Which I've never heard anyone in my life other than him say that, ever. Nor, if a great white wants to come you look more like a seal. I don't know, but I don't think the trash bag's really going to be a deterrent. Rainwater, that's smart. Maybe I should tell him about that.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Never
we
ever
always
heard
had
that before.
some peanut butter and some black trash bags in our scuba gear. Whatever.
Okay.
Anyway.
What's your phobia?
Oh, mine? Huh. I'm not really super keen on planes.
Oh, yeah, you hate planes.
But I used to not be. I used to love them. I used to laugh at people who were like, oh. Not laugh, but like not understand.
Now
and
she
now
has to get hammered to go on a plane.
What?
Multiple adult beverages?
Yeah, then your plane gets delayed, and then it's just a conflict because then you're just
Trashed.
having a party by
Trashed in the
yourself.
airport. Can't find the...
Well, you're the fun one.
Have trouble getting the peanut butter and
Trash
bags through
bags.
security?
What's this for? Well, let me tell you. Anyway,
Last question.
what makes you stand to your feet and cheer?
Stand to my feet and cheer.
I've never seen you stand on your feet and cheer, ever.
The national anthem? That's the only time I'd stand on my feet.
You're not cheering.
No.
Stand at my feet and chair. But I think anything having to do with America and...
Notre Dame football. It's the only time I get fired up, really.
You do, actually. You turn into a fan when it comes to that, and that's about the only place I've ever seen you really be a fan.
Yep.
Notre Dame football. Anything that has to do with America and our military and those kinds of things make me...
For sure.
That moves me. That's something that's important.
I stand and cheer a lot.
Yes, you do.
But it's...
What doesn't make you stand and cheer?
That makes me happy. And I think little victories should be celebrated. Like, sometimes you do super cool stuff. That's why I woo a lot.
Everybody gets a trophy?
Absolutely not. I do not feel that way. But if someone does something, I'm going to stand and cheer for them.
That is like a part of your design is most certainly to cheer and to encourage, and that's part of who you are, and that makes you cool, Ellie. That's good.
Thanks. I'm glad I recovered from the teary portion.
I don't know if you
stand
recovered.
and cheer. Okay, we're talking about standing and cheering. That's meeting adjourned.
That's
Gavel.
it. End of episode. CrossFitMayhem.com.
I think
FRONINGandFriends.com.
FRONINGandFriends.com. There's all that there.
Be on the lookout. Mayhem Mindset coming soon.